hear you in terms of how this global geopolitics play is going to kind of pan out. But what does it mean for global businesses that play in this space and for maybe end user industries as well? Could you kind of give us some sense?
Oh, yeah. The implications for global business is immense. Whether you're and at first hand, it might feel that it is only the Chinese firms which are going to be, majorly hit, like SMTC, YMTC, and maybe a major automobile manufacturers like Geely and BYD. But let me, tell you that from whatever I have read and I have observed, this is going to have implications for American firms, non-American and non-Chinese firms as well. So for example, to begin with, let's take the case of Apple. Apple's supply chains was considered as gold standard. By smartphone makers. So for its iPhone models, it had an established supply chain, and it was so it was basically depending on this Chinese major YMTC for memory chips. But now with this kind of tech war, uh, Apple is at the receiving end. Now, Apple needs to revise the way it looks at its supply chain. So Apple is going to have one kind of a supply chain for iPhones, which it is going to manufacture for the Chinese consumers, and it has to come up with another kind of a supply chain arrangement to meet the regulations of the American administration, and therefore it has to uh, you know come up with new strategies for iPhones which it manufactures for the non-Chinese market. So that is one example. To give another example, you can also see uh, American firms like chip design leaders like Nvidia and AMD, tool makers like Applied Materials and Lam Research. For instance, NVIDIA's recent automotive grade system on chip called Drive 4 is capable of providing level 4 self-driving capabilities. And this has been welcomed by Chinese car maker Geely. But amidst this Sino-US tech war, its premium EV brands, especially the autonomous vehicle segment, are likely to bear the consequences. Most advanced cars in the autonomous segment, they are still at level 2 and level 3. So if the Chinese automobile players are going to make a name for themselves in the autonomous vehicle segment, and they are to graduate from level 2, level 3 to level 4 and level 5 in the future, they still are more than significantly dependent on the Chinese players are significantly, more than significantly dependent on players like Nvidia and AMD. So not only so their development is going to get affected. Nvidia's business is going to get affected. So if you look at some of the non-American and non-Chinese firms, so if you're taking TSMC, from Taiwan, or Samsung from South Korea, which have very advanced capabilities when it comes to chip manufacturing, they are being lulled by the Americans to come and set shop in United States. So TSMC was invited by Trump when he was the president to come and invest in Arizona. They are also in many ways influencing TSMC to diversify its supply chain. Only a few years back, TSMC's more than 90% of chip exports was comprising of exports to mainland China and domestic Taiwan market. Now the Americans are kind of influencing TSMC to diversify and go to markets like Japan and Singapore. The idea is to cripple China's tech supply chain. Um, so and and given that many of the non American and non Chinese firms who are operating from China, they are also caught amidst this tech war. So for them also it's very difficult to produce, manufacture advanced chips, as long as they are operating in China. So now they need to also think that if they have to upgrade their facilities, perhaps China is not, the right destination. So if you're looking at Huawei, for example, Huawei's, 5G, smartphones, the latest models and all that, they have, got a major hit because of Americans choking, the chips exports, and given the tech value disruptions that are taking place, Huawei's smartphone business not only has suffered outside China, but within China also, it has suffered significantly. So I think these are some of the implications of
If
as far
one
as
were to
businesses are concerned.
Venkat, if one were to look at the EV space, this has, I'm guessing, significant implications for the EV space as well, in the way that it's evolving, and the Chinese were pretty well placed. How does this change the game in the EV space?
That's huge, because the Chinese started projecting themselves as the leaders in this whole, climate change, space. Uh, given their, advanced progress in solar, energy, their progress in wind energy, the electric vehicle segment. So, in short, renewable energy is something which China was, has been progressing by leaps and bounds. And this progress of China in the energy segment, renewable energy segment, is hugely, dependent on advanced technology. So the moment China emerges as a big player in the renewable energy segment, its buy-in from the larger international community, its reputational capital is significantly going to increase. And by choking the supply, of chips and other advanced equipment to China, perhaps the Americans want to ensure that China doesn't get the kind of buy-in that it desires to increase its influence in the international system.